ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 7 o'clock main news. In tonight's headlines, His Highness the Amir receives the chairperson and members of the Kuwaiti initiative to support the Egyptian people. The National Assembly approves the request of the public prosecutor to lift immunity from a number of MPs. France is at its highest level of alert following last week's terror attacks in Paris. And the second black box of the crashed AirAsia plane is retrieved from the Java Sea. His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah received this morning at Sif Palace His Highness Sheikh Nasser Al-Mohammed Al-Ahmed Al-Sabah. His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah received this afternoon at Sif Palace the chairperson of the Kuwaiti initiative to support the Egyptian people that's sponsored by the Kuwait Red Crescent Society Adlam Sa'id Al-Sayr, along with the initiative members who briefed His Highness the Emir about their recent activities. The meeting was attended by the Deputy Minister of Amir Diwan Affairs Sheikh Ali Jarrah Al-Sabah. His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah received this morning at Sif Palace His Highness Sheikh Nasser Al-Mohammed Al-Ahmed Al-Sabah. His Highness the Crown Prince also received the Deputy Chairman of the State Audit Bureau of Kuwait Abdulaziz Al-Tharawi. His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Sabah patronised the second forum of the Senior Endowers, which is being organised by the General Secretariat of Awqaf Foundation. His Highness deputised the Minister of Justice and Minister of Awqaf and Islamic Affairs Yaqub Abdul Muhsin Al-Sana to attend the opening session, which will be held at 10:45 a.m. tomorrow at the Radisson Blu Hotel. The National Assembly, in a closed-door session meeting, approved today the request of the public prosecutor to lift immunity from two MPs. National Assembly Speaker Marzouk Al-Ghanim said that it was necessary to hold a closed-door meeting because of the sensitivity of the request by the prosecutor, since it had to do with the nation's foreign policy. Hiba Abdul Rahman has more details in the following report.
In its regular session today, the National Assembly approved the public prosecution request to lift the parliamentary immunity of Member of Parliament Faisal Duisan in case number 194 for the year 2013 of press charges. The National Assembly Speaker Marzouk Ali Al-Ghanim declared the remaining of the session would be held behind closed doors upon a request presented by a number of MPs according to Article number 69 of the Parliament's bylaws, in order to discuss the public prosecution request of lifting parliamentary immunity of MP Abdul Hamid Dashti in case number 10 for the year 2014 of national security charges. The MPs mentioned in their request that the public discussion of this matter might negatively affect the country's higher interests, as the issue is related to Kuwait's foreign policy. This comes as the General Assembly Parliamentary Division of the National Assembly recommended today during the first annual meeting in the role of the third normal legislative term of the 14th session, the MP Faisal Al-Shaya as agent of the division and MP Dr. Aoud Al-Ruwaisi as the secretary of the division. The Assembly also commended the MP Saleh Ashur as treasurer of the division and the MPs Madi Al-Hajri, Saif Al-Azmi, Dr. Khalil Abdullah as members in the division. The Speaker of the National Assembly left the session after the Assembly passed its schedule and approved the minutes of the Assembly's meeting, which was held on the 5th of February 2014. It was also approved the authorization of the Executive Committee of the Division in issuing its final account and balance sheet for the first period from January 2015 till 31st of December 2015, as well as adopting the reports of the meetings and conferences that were held from February till December. From the National Assembly, I am Hab Abdurrahman reporting for English News.
The British Embassy held a press conference at the Marina Hotel to announce details pertaining to Britain in Kuwait 2015. Britain in Kuwait, which is set to take place at the Salwa Sabah Al Ahmed Ballroom, is under the patronage of His Highness Sheikh Nasser Mohammed Ahmed Al Sabah from the 15th to the 17th of January. Linwa Jabouri brings us up to date with the details.
The Britain in Kuwait exhibition was established in 1997 to solidify the trade ties between the two nations and reinforce the long-standing relationship that joins them together and continues to grow stronger until this day.
Well, the Britain in Kuwait exhibition is a really important opportunity to showcase the British companies and British businesses here to Kuwaiti partners. But it's about more than that. It's about providing an opportunity for people to network, and it's about actually connecting businesses, because we are in a competitive marketplace. There's a fantastically strong and rich relationship between the UK and Kuwait going back, as I said earlier on, over 250 years. But we mustn't be complacent. We've got lots of partners and competitors in Europe and elsewhere who are also seeking business here in Kuwait. So I want to make sure that we make the most of the links that we've got, that people are able to see what the UK has to offer. And from the British point of view, that British businesses will come here and understand that the Gulf is about more than other parts, and that Kuwait has an awful lot to offer itself. And there are some advantages to coming here given our links and our understanding. So a lot of it is about networking and connections as much as anything else.
The majority of industries and sectors in Kuwait that will be represented during the exhibition include retail, education, healthcare, motor industry, hospitality, aviation, and many more.
The last, I think, I don't have the figures now, but the last 20 years, we have a big development in the commercial sector, investment sector, military sector, and health sector. And, these exhibitions give also support always to the relation between Kuwait and Britain. You see, I think a lot of, even you feel it from media, from people will be attend. I hope you will be, when you will be in the opening, inshallah, you'll see how the people like Britain. You see, I think even at tourism, it's a big, huge Kuwaitis going there. And one thing I want to mention, the relation between Kuwait and Britain. Kuwait Embassy, the building, is the biggest building for Kuwait embassies in the world.
Following on from Great British Week, which was held April 2014, Britain in Kuwait will provide an excellent and high-profile start to the series of activities planned to be held this year. Britain in Kuwait has created a business platform that is strengthening and enhancing business opportunities between Britain and Kuwait. From the Marina Hotel, I'm Linwa Jabouri reporting to you for the English News.
France is now at its highest level of alert, with more than 10,000 soldiers expected to be deployed around the country. French Prime Minister Manuel Valls told press conference that the threat is still present despite the killing of the two militants who gunned down 12 people at Charlie Hebdo and the attacker who left 4 people dead at a grocery store. Valls said the 3 probably had accomplices, although he didn't say how many or who they might be. Meanwhile, security has been increased at federal buildings and airports across the United States in the aftermath of the terror attacks in Paris last week. Authorities in Bulgaria confirmed today that they had arrested a French citizen believed to have links to one of the brothers who carried out the Paris attacks. According to regional prosecutor of the southern province of Haskovo, Fritz Joachim was arrested under 2 European arrest warrants, one citing his alleged links to a terrorist organization and a second for allegedly kidnapping his son and smuggling him out of the country. The Frenchman appeared in court in House Kosovo for hearing to determine his possible extradition to France. US-led coalition military forces launched a total of 27 airstrikes on territories controlled by the so-called Islamic State militants in Iraq and Syria. An operation report said that coalition forces conducted 11 airstrikes on militants positioned in Syria over the past 24 hours, including Kobani and Deir ez-Zor. Meanwhile, fighters, bombers and remotely controlled aircraft conducted 16 airstrikes in Iraq, including Beji, Ramadi, Tal Afar and Mount Sinjar. The strikes were conducted as part of Operation Inherent Resolve, the operation to eliminate the terrorist group and the threat it poses to Iraq, Syria and the international community. Afghan officials confirmed for the first time that the so-called Islamic State group was active in the south of the country. The provisional governor of Nimrod said the IS activities were not significant or such a level that to become a threat to Afghans and the Afghan government. According to military sources, a man identified as Mullah Abdul Rauf was actively recruiting fighters in the volatile southern Helmand province for the group, which controls large parts of Syria and Iraq. The remarks came as the US State Department spokeswoman Marie Harf said the US has noted the rhetorical message of support for the IS group by some in Afghanistan. US Secretary of State John Kerry praised Pakistani leaders for combating militants such as the Taliban, who pose security threats to Pakistan as well as the US and its allies. Kerry's comments came during a press conference in Islamabad with the Pakistani Prime Minister's foreign policy advisor Sartaj Aziz. Kerry also announced that $250 million in previously appropriated money to the country will be given to emergency relief efforts in the tribal areas, mainly North Waziristan, after hundreds of thousands of people fled the area due to the fighting.
Come to Pakistan. The relationship between Pakistan and the United States is not only about threats. It is not only about counterterrorism. It is also about building on opportunities that we have to create ties that make both countries more secure, more stable, more prosperous, more democratic.
Indonesian officials today confirmed that they already retrieved the second black box of doomed AirAsia flight QZ8501. The chief of Indonesia's National Transport and Safety Committee, Tatang Kuniadi, told reporters that the second black box was retrieved and was on board the command ship KRI Banda Aceh in the Java Sea. Meanwhile, in Surabaya, the head of the disaster victim identification team confirmed that they identified 2 more bodies at the Bhayangkara Hospital in Surabaya. The team, consisting of forensic experts from Indonesia, Malaysia, Singapore, Australia and the United Arab Emirates, has now identified 36 bodies from a total of 48 bodies found, and the identified bodies will be returned to their families for burial. And moving to local financial news, the main price indices of the Kuwait Stock Exchange ended today's session with a positive performance, as the price index gained 11 points to reach 6,572 points. The KSX 15 index also put on 4 points and settled at the level of 1,072 points. The share of the Kuwait Rimal Real Estate Company was the top gainer of the day, while that of the Gulf Franchising Holding Company suffered the biggest loss. And the Kuwait national football team lost for the second time in the first rounds of the 16th Asian Football Confederation Cup, outplayed by South Korea 1-0 in Canberra, Australia. South Korea took the lead 8 minutes before half-time when veteran Cha Do-ri pushed forward a cross that found Nam Tae-hee to header the ball past goalkeeper Hamid Youssef. South Korea will move to Brisbane to face host Australia in the last Group A game on Saturday, while Kuwait is to meet Oman in Newcastle. For a chance to see our reports again, please visit our YouTube channel at MOI Kuwait News. And to recap tonight's news, here are the headlines once again. His Highness the Amir receives the chairperson and members of the Kuwaiti initiative to support the Egyptian people. The National Assembly approves the request of the public prosecutor to lift immunity from a number of MPs. France is at its highest level of alert following last week's terror attacks in Paris. And the second black box of the crashed AirAsia plane is retrieved from the Java Sea. Thank you for joining us.